Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our series, Ancient Wisdom Demystified. And today's topic is the Sphinx. So, Tata, what is the mystery of the Sphinx?
Yeah, the mystery of the Sphinx is because the very title says mystery, because we really do not know as to when the Sphinx was actually installed. Though it is, archaeologically today, Egyptian archaeologists dedicated the whole beginning or the installation day to King Khafre, but it is not really established in the sense we see from various, geological investigation that the Sphinx is much, much older. Like last time I mentioned about the erosion marks.
Yeah, you're talking about the erosion marks.
Yeah.
How did they happen?
So the erosion marks, as we just briefly mentioned last episode, happened due to heavy waterfall. This is now almost clearly established, but people say, no, it was the bedrock and all those things. They may say so many things, but what we call as the independent scholars who do research on this type of sites, people are coming up with various reasons why we feel that there was heavy rainfall. The rainfall is because there was a lot of forestation. But today it is a desert. So if today it's a desert and it was rainfall, it has to go back quite a long time before the Ice Age, or nearly the end of the Ice Age. And the Ice Age started from about 20,000 BC to about 10,000 BC. So that period was when the more land was exposed. And so that is the reason why it happened.
Okay. What was the purpose of building the Sphinx?
Yeah, building the Sphinx was definitely dedicated as I told you, current scholarship, that dedicated to a pharaoh. It is not very much appreciated from current, independent scholarship. What we really feel is that, the Sphinx was dedicated to more astral sign, a cosmological sign. So the original face of the Sphinx is supposed to be a lion. It's not that of a pharaoh. It's supposed to be that of a lion. And if it is a lion and you need to have a cosmological reference, then you need to have a certain amount of a cosmological knowledge about what is the various constellations.
Yeah.
Because Leo is one of the constellations.
One of the 12 zodiac.
One of the 12 zodiacs. So that's why this was dedicated. Actually, this particular image of the Sphinx was dedicated to the Leo constellation. So then you may ask me, why to Leo constellation?
Yeah, why Leo of all the constellations?
See, always, the lion is supposed to be the king. It's supposed to be the supreme authority. So the people who really built or installed the Sphinx had a very detailed knowledge of the cosmological, positions. If you see all the 12 zodiacs, they move around during a vast number of years. In fact, what we call as a precession of the Earth's axis, which is on the vertical, the axis that moves around, to cover completely 360 degrees, it takes 26,000 years.
That's a large number of years,
time.
Yeah.
And we are right now in the Aquarius constellation.
Okay.
So for us, Aquarius is now right in front of us in the east. And Leo right now, constellation of Leo is right at the back in the west now. So if you back calculate, because NASA has got a complete chart over many, many years, you can know the position of the zodiacs. If you calculate today, we find that this is a half cycle or 180-degree movement of 26,000 years. So half of 26,000 is how much? 13,000 years.
Yeah.
Now, today we are in 2000 AD.
Yeah.
If you calculate back, you should be around 11,000 to 10,500 BC. Correct?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, the Leo constellation was right at the east on the sunrise, what we call as a vernal equinox, which is March 21st, pointing, and this line sits right pointing to the east.
That's great.
So the guys who built this particular Sphinx had a very detailed knowledge of the cosmological positions, which means they were very high intelligence, like last time we mentioned.
Yeah.
That's why he could do, build the pyramids and build the Sphinx. And added to that, last time I mentioned regarding the planetary alignment, right?
Yeah.
So the planetary alignment was only one of the things. But 10,500 years back, if you look at the constellation of Leo, as we said, is in the east, and the Orion star system is right above the pyramid. And as we just briefly mentioned last time, the three stars, the belt stars, are exactly coinciding with the other pyramids.
Exactly, yeah.
So the pyramids coincides with the Orion belt, and the Sphinx points directly to the east. That was a perfect alignment, cosmological alignment of, according to these people who are very highly intelligent, it is supposed to be the maximum energy imbibing system. And today we find one more thing. In South Africa, there are stone circles, like we have in Stonehenge in Britain. And if you draw a line from them, the longitude is completely passing through the pyramid from down south. So these all point out to a very highly cosmological knowledge of the ancient people who were there.
So who are these people exactly?
Yeah.
Civilization.
See, there is also a lot of research going on. Under the left paw of the Sphinx, people did a sonar or echo sounding. And they found that there is a chamber at the bottom at about 30 feet below. It may be a chamber of records of the ancient people who left some records there. In fact, when some of the people who visited there, independent scholars who visited there, and they talked to the people, some of the people know that there is something there which is buried deep in the chambers below. Anyhow, this is something which is still being investigated. In fact, Egyptian archaeologists are drilling, and if you ask them, they say that we are drilling for water. I don't think so. Actually, they are drilling to find out whether there is a chamber or not.
Okay.
That is the reason why we feel that this particular Sphinx which was built was not built just like a statue. It had a lot of cosmological reference, probably a record-keeping area by the intelligence which was there at that time. And as you ask, who's the people? These are the people who were called crocodile kings.
Crocodile king.
Yeah. And if you see some of the, sculptures in Sumeria, Sumerian civilization, crocodile heads. They have crocodile heads. We will talk about it another episode about who are the people, who are these intelligent people who are there.
Okay, Tata, do you think these people who've created the Sphinx and the Egyptians are somehow related?
Yeah, Egyptians, what we call Egyptians now, came later.
Yeah.
Because, there will be another episode in which we'll talk about the Great Devastation.
Okay.
After the devastation, this particular civilization disappeared, but it didn't disappear completely. These people created, created some leaders who could go out and then inculcate certain amount of wisdom to the next generation of people who came.
Okay.
If you see that one, what has happened is, this is another topic. I don't think we should go into it right now. But this is the thing.
Just like a little bit.
Yeah. So what we now know is that this entire civilization, which is so highly intelligent, they had cosmic knowledge and all those things, that disappeared during the devastation, or they left a place, we don't know.
Okay.
But the transfer of that knowledge has not been complete. So whoever the Egyptians who came in later and occupied this space under the king or under the pharaoh were a different set of people, but who had this knowledge. Because one thing that we know, Egypt was, the primary god of Egypt was Ra.
Yeah.
Sun god.
Sun god.
So it has got a certain cosmological link, but what really happens, we don't know in between. So these are things which we'll probably, there's much more details which we'll discuss in the next episode.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. I think that was a good, good time to think about all these things, and especially Sphinx. Still, a lot of debate is going on. We will talk about the civilization which came much before that and who are the responsible for creating the Sphinx in the coming episodes. Thank you for watching and listening. Bye.
Bye-bye.